Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the XVX M87 Pro tri-mode mechanical keyboard that was sent over to me by XVX themselves for my honest review. Now this keyboard starts at a price point of $100. It comes with Otemu white switches, which I believe are factory lubed. Inside the box you get the keyboard itself, a USB-C cable that is unfortunately not braided, some extra keycaps, a keycap and switch puller, and the manual itself. The keyboard has a very pretty design following that Coral C, at least the one I have, but they also have a retro gray colorway that also looks pretty cool. The reason why I like the Coral C colorway is because the design follows the whole keyboard and on the back and on the front, and it just looks really cool. I feel like nowadays a lot of keyboard manufacturers are focused on making something that looks very minimal, sleek, and clean. And while I really like that, it's always nice to see something like this, which isn't afraid of doing something outside of the norm and being more of an in-your-face keyboard rather than a subtle one. Now, this does have an OLED screen, and to turn it on, once you plug in the keyboard, you tap on the knob and it'll turn on the screen. Once you're in there, you have a bunch of options to choose from. You can also just change the RGB, which is what I would use the screen mostly for. Now, the switches, like I said earlier, I believe are factory lubed, and they do sound pretty good right out of the box. Now this keyboard has plate foam, case foam, and PE foam built in, but it did sound like it was still a bit on the hollow side. When it came to the keycap quality is pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's anything crazy, but for a budget board, it's about what you would expect. Now the keycap profile, on the other hand, is a bit weird. I'm not a big fan of it. It's their own XVX profile apparently. If it was just the DSA or a cherry profile, I would have probably liked this even more, but at least it's not OEM profile, so I can't really complain there. Here's a quick sound test of how this keyboard sounds right out the box. So honestly, this keyboard doesn't sound too bad, and I was quite surprised how well lubed and tuned the stabilizers were. Mine basically had no rattle on any of the bigger keys, so that was great to see that this keyboard is basically plug and play. The way to take apart this keyboard is quite interesting because it just has screws on the back. Usually plastic keyboards don't have that, but I'm really happy to see that on this keyboard. Now there are two screws hidden behind the two top feet, and when I took off the foot on the right side, the little adhesive tape also came off, so that was kind of annoying. I don't like hidden screws. Once I got inside, I realized that this keyboard is very hard to take apart due to the way they inserted the wire for the display. It makes it almost impossible to take apart, and I'm pretty sure if you wiggled around and tried to deattach it with some tweezers or something, you might be able to do it. But for me personally, I didn't want to break anything, and that had a high risk, so I just decided to put the keyboard back together. Now this is a big flaw in my opinion when it comes to modifications. Now the other thing that I think could definitely be improved on is the fact that they're still using a steel plate. Honestly, this keyboard is very held back by the plate choice. The fact that it has PE foam, plate foam, case foam, and some pre-lubed decent feeling switches, and it still sounds like a cheap plastic board, is all due to the fact that the plate is steel. So in the future, please stop using steel plates in keyboards. Lastly, the keyboard itself is north facing, so what that means is the RGB socket is north facing, and you would want it south facing if you wanted to change out the keycaps in the future. But if you did not like the keycap profile and you wanted to change it to cherry profile, you could run it into some interference issues in the future. So I think because these keycaps aren't even shine through, there is no benefit to it being north facing. With all that being said, if these three issues that I talked about here today don't matter to you and you don't really care and you think it looks very cool because it does and you like the way it sounds, then by all means go for it. If you did want a keyboard to mod and to make sound better in the future, I don't really think this could be a good contender because of how hard it is to actually mod it due to the display cable. If you did want to check out this keyboard, I'll be leaving a link to it in the description below, but let me know what you guys thought about the XVX M87 Pro in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.